What's up? Good morning, everybody. Today is Sunday, October 10th, and we are here with the Man to Man Podcast Fantasy Sunday. Tom, what's up, my man?
I'm just trying to get over the fact that the Jets still suck. How about you?
I'm good. I'm okay. I finished out the day okay yesterday, but I'll get into that in a little bit. We're joined by Asher today, Asher Boyd. I'm going to give it to him, let him take the floor. I'll tell you everything about him, and he's going to give out some picks and winners today. Let's go.
What up, fellas? First off, thank you for having me on your guys' podcast. This is going to be quite the journey. I love being here talking some football with y'all. My name's Asher. I'm with my boys Cody, Alex, and Corey over at Tav Nation, the Angry Vets Fantasy Sports Discussions. Don't be mistaken by the LSU jersey. I'm a Vikings fan. I'm just a fan of the player, Justin Jefferson. Huge Vikings fan, so I'm sure all you Jets fans out there and Tom know my heartbreak as well.
Hey, I knew you were
some football.
Hey, let's be fair. Let's be fair. I mean, I lived with that kind of hurt for about my entire life. So as a Browns fan, so
I guess I can't complain too much.
Yeah. Well, we're happy to have you, Asher. We're gonna go over some quick news, and then we'll get into the injury report, and then like always, filter in questions whenever. We'll answer them when we have time, and college football update. Bama goes down last night. Did not see that one coming at all. That was literally a shock to me. I'm sure it probably wasn't a shock to people down in the SEC, but that was a shock after Texas A&M got blitzed by Arkansas. So down goes Bama. We'll talk college football during the week on our show. Jets update. Tom, what's the score? How's it looking? I also have to say, people in England probably hate the shit out of Roger Goodell. Like, could we send over any worse teams? And I think the Jaguars are going over as well. So
yeah, they are.
Yeah, they are. I forgot about that.
So I'm actually living out here in England right now.
Oh my God, seriously?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So I'm in the military. I'm in the Air Force. I'm stationed over here at Milton Hall, and seeing the slates that they gave us over here in London, I was pretty upset as well.
Yeah, I would be too. Yeah, that's terrible.
That's terrible, man. Jeez.
That's awesome,
way to hide that fact from us, Asher. Oh yeah, man, I'm just a Vikings fan. It's fine. I don't need to mention that I'm over in England right now in the Air Force. It's fine.
Yeah, my bad. That's a pretty big piece right there.
Yeah, no, that's cool. That's cool. Well, obviously, first, thanks for your service. I was in the Army. I never got out of the country. I was in Fort Leonard Wood and then Fort Campbell for my 4 years. But I never got to go anywhere like England. But that's awesome. So
it's nice seeing a 2:00 game for once.
Yeah, right. I bet instead of having to. Yeah, I got you.
In the morning.
All right, so let's hit the injury report. Tom, you have anything to update with that? Go ahead.
All I know off the top of my head, TJ Hawkinson is playing. Dalvin Cook's still a game time decision, as I know. Maybe Asher has more insight on that. I know, gosh, he was just out. I know Joe Mixon is supposed to play, but he's not going to be 100%, so that might affect his fantasy value. Yeah, that's all I have off the top of my head. I didn't have a list pulled up. I know Corey Davis just caught a pass, which is nice.
That's nice, yeah. I got it pulled up here. So obviously we're going to start with quarterbacks here. I think if you don't know this and you haven't set your lineups up accordingly, you're probably screwed and you probably don't care about your league, so that's fine. But Jimmy G is out, along with Teddy Bridgewater is questionable. But he's coming back from a concussion, so I would lean towards he's not going to play because they try and make it extra safe for those guys nowadays. I would lean hard on that. Asher, you got any thoughts on that?
About the Jimmy G?
No, Teddy Bridgewater. You think he's going to play or
no? See, I'm a bit in between on that. If he does play, then I think he's not a surefire pick fantasy play for sure. I think you definitely need to watch out for him. His injury repertoire, when he's even just slightly injured, it doesn't seem like he's ever fully 100%. So
yeah, no, I feel that completely.
Right.
Heading down to the running backs. I know Carolina fans were getting very excited. They probably thought Christian McCaffrey was going to play today. It's doubtful he's going to play. I would almost guarantee he's not going to play because they did the same thing last year, brought him back too early, and he just ended up aggravating it. So if they've learned anything, they should not be playing him, and they're doing pretty well on their own without him. So I would doubt that Christian McCaffrey plays. Ezekiel Elliott is questionable. He finished the week with 2 limited practices. I would follow that one. He's expected
to play, though. I see.
Okay, he's expected to play. I would still follow that one closely, just in case, because if you have Tony Pollard and Zeke doesn't play, obviously that's a huge. You got to set that in right away. Dalvin Cook also questionable, but Asher, didn't he play last week versus the Browns? Right?
Yeah, he did play last week.
He didn't play that. Did he not play that much, or I don't remember. Did he play all 4 quarters? I guess.
No, I don't believe so. I think he was out for the first couple of quarters, I believe. Maybe he played a few downs, but the rest of that it was just Alexander Madison.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't think so because the Vikings are a good team, and I was a little surprised how the Browns defense did. So I was surprised. So
yeah, he only had 9 attempts that game.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. I would keep an eye on that one as well because obviously if Dalvin Cook's not playing, you got to put Matheson in. He's got to be start right away, at least in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely.
Joe Mixon.
Touchdown Jets.
Oh, touchdown Jets. Who scored?
It looks like Carter.
Freaking Ty Johnson.
Oh, Ty Johnson.
It's Ty Johnson.
I have no idea who that is. That's good though. Good.
Why couldn't it have been Corey?
Yeah, I need a huge Corey Davis game, but unfortunately, that's not gonna happen.
I started him in like 3 or 4 leagues, man. I need him. I think I have him in the TAV league too.
I didn't start him for the first week. In the first week, he got that was his big week, and then I started him the next week. He did nothing, so he's officially out. I'm out. I think I traded him. Joe Mixon is also questionable.
Smart enough.
Versus the Packers. That's I would expect him to play, I would think. But I would also keep an eye on that. Also, that is going to, in terms of betting, which is actually just saying, that's my forte. I do the betting. I just kind of try on fantasy. But that's something that if you bettors out there got to follow because Green Bay is only giving 3 right now. Yeah, that's a lock for me anyways. But if Joe Mixon's out, that's their Bengals become completely one-dimensional in my opinion. So definitely watch out for that. Chase Edmonds questionable, limited Friday practice. I don't know. He had a big week last week, but we'll just stick with it. Look on that. We'll let you guys know if anything comes up.
I have that he is suiting up, and I also just got an update. Teddy Bridgewater is suiting up.
Okay, cool. All right, good. Thank you, Tom. Obviously, everyone knows Montgomery is on the IR. David Montgomery, that is. Me and Tom's Dynasty League, we are getting destroyed by injuries. It's great. It's a lot of fun. Antonio Gibson is questionable. I think he's questionable, whatever. There's a ton of running backs here. I'm just trying to name the ones. Melvin Gordon, questionable. DeAndre Swift, questionable. Jamal Williams, Detroit, questionable. Giovanni Bernard, and Peyton Barber are all questionable.
What I've seen about running backs is that all the running backs that are game time decisions are questionable. Most of them are going to play. It seems like most of them are active. The only running backs that you should be concerned with is Christian McCaffrey. That's it.
All right. That's awesome. Good.
Love that.
AJ Brown is playing this week. I actually didn't know that. That's important. Also, this was probably released earlier in the week as well. Calvin Ridley did not travel, and it doesn't matter anyways because the game's already going on. Julio Jones is out again. Amari Cooper is questionable. Devontae Parker is questionable as well. That would be a huge blow to Miami. And then Sterling Shepard.
He just got downgraded to out.
Who?
Devontae Parker.
Oh, he's out? Okay. All right. Darius Slayton also out. Cortland Sutton questionable. Curtis Samuel is questionable with his groin. Looking. Russell Gage, he's out. That's already going on though. Wow, Justin, don't know how to read. James Washington out. Danny Amendola still plays football. Oh my God. He's questionable for Sunday's game. I had absolutely no idea he didn't. Oh, that was
what
one of the
team
questions.
is he on?
He's on the Texans, which makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
Is Patrick Peterson still playing in the NFL?
Patrick Peterson's on the Vikings.
I think he's on.
Is he? Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I know he has a podcast that I want to listen to, but I didn't know if he was still in the NFL. So tight ends, obviously, another huge blow to San Francisco. George Kittle is on the IR.
Yeah.
Gronk is out again. You said Hawk is going to play. Max Williams, who had a big week last week for the Arizona Cardinals, is questionable. Wow, David Njoku is questionable. That sucks. Wow. I didn't know that. Albert, I'm not even going to try and say his last name. The Broncos tight end.
A lot of injuries this year again.
Albert Akwei-Bunum is on the injured reserve, so it doesn't matter. Kickers, there's two of them here.
Aquaman.
Whatever. Nick Folk is questionable. Austin Siebert will be available for Sunday's game. And then there's defense, but we don't need those. So definitely keep an eye on those guys we brought up. We will keep an eye out as well. And whenever we get updates, we'll shoot them out there. So, Tom, you want to go over last week's results of your starter, sit 'em, whatever, and then Corey, you can just add in whatever comments. We'll get through this quick, then we'll head right to our start 'em, sit 'em sleepers. Tom, what was the results last week? How did we do?
I think we actually did very, very well last week. From me, Tom Brady was my starter quarterback. Obviously did not end up so well versus New England. But I think everyone was surprised by that. Other than that, my stardoms, Jonathan Taylor had a huge week last week. Corey Davis had a huge week last week. Noah Fant, I think, ended up scoring a touchdown last week. And the Bills absolutely destroyed the Texans. I think they put up 22 points. So I was pretty solid with all of my stardoms. My sit-ums, the Baltimore running backs all did not play well. Ryan Tannehill versus the Jets struggled. I think he only put up about 14 or 15, depending on the type of league you were in. Mike Gesicki ended up playing better than I thought, so I'll take the L on that one. And the Carolina defense got shredded by Dallas, putting up negative points. So, again, I was pretty solid with that. And then my sleepers, Heineke popped off a little bit. Zach Moss, I think, ended up putting up another touchdown. Hunter Renfrow played pretty well like he usually does, very consistent. Baby Gronk was not a factor, and the Washington defense, I think, ended up putting up a decent number, but not great. So overall, I think I did very, very well last week, and it was my best week for start, sit, and sleep.
Okay, good. Corey, or not Corey, sorry, Asher. So, question for you: what do you think of, like, overall? What do you think of Kirk Cousins?
Okay, I think that he is in a system that isn't designed for him. I think Kirk Cousins he's a stat pusher. He's not the guy that you want out there to win you games. He's more so out there to get you numbers. That's it. But if he played in the right system where they were pass heavy, like he has been the past 3 weeks, he could light the game on fire. We just need to win the games. That's the problem. It's just he's not. I don't know.
That's interesting. You said it. That's probably. Go ahead. You go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay, I was going to say that's probably the best explanation we've got about Kirk Cousins because I don't know. He does seem like a stat pusher that doesn't win. I agree. but I think he puts up points in fantasy. Am I correct? Yeah.
Absolutely. He puts up points in fantasy. It's just he's not that guy that people look at like, oh yeah, I want to start him.
Yeah, no, he puts up good numbers. We've kind of ripped on him on this show a little bit, but I don't know if we ripped on him or just more of just
I've ripped on him too, and he's my quarterback. So
yeah, well, I've ripped on okay. So
so what I heard from that, Asher, is you're a fan as well of starting Kellen Mond.
No.
Good.
No,
good.
I'm not a fan of starting Kellen Mond.
Yeah, Asher, that's the correct answer.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, no. So another question about your Vikings. Justin Jefferson hasn't been that good this year, correct? Or maybe he's been good, but he hasn't been putting up points.
No, the first couple of games, it happened last year too. The first couple of games he was not utilized. The same thing happened this year, but last game, as you probably saw, he did pretty well.
Yeah.
The game before that, he also did pretty well. So he obviously the first couple of games he's getting his jitters out. He's not going to get targeted as much, but he's going to start putting up points. I wouldn't worry about him.
Okay, cool. Because I drafted him in like all my leagues, so that's awesome.
He's a solid draft. He'll be a top 10 wide receiver for sure.
Yeah, I think it's the funniest thing if you look back at that draft that Jefferson is probably far and away the best receiver that went. He's way better than CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb can't catch anything. Henry Ruggs is basically a prop for just deep balls, and then Jerry Jeudy's hurt now and also can't catch the ball. So, I mean, we probably should have known it with him coming out of LSU and having a great season next to Jamar Chase. But yeah, I'm a big fan of Jefferson. So hopefully he comes on. But you're right, he did the same thing last year. He came on at the end. So yeah, all right. Well, let's get into our own stardom, situm, and sleepers. All right. I will start, or no, Tom, you start.
All right, I will start it up then.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. For my stardom quarterback of the week, I know he's been playing out of his mind, and I can see him continuing to play out of his mind. I love Sam Darnold versus Philadelphia this week. He's been putting up numbers. The Philadelphia defense is very, very weak, and they are prone to giving up yardage on the ground. And I know that should mean a big week for Chuba Hubbard, but Sam Darnold currently leads the NFL in rushing touchdowns. So I could see him finding a hole and taking off on his own and potentially just having a big day on the ground as well as through the air because their Philadelphia secondary is also not the greatest. So I'm going with Sam Darnold. Okay.
I feel that. Yeah. I know we talked beforehand. Sam Darnold was my starter as well. But I changed mine. I'm going to go with Josh Allen versus the Chiefs defense. The Chiefs defense has been they've been all over the place. The Chiefs themselves have been all over the place. And Josh Allen seems to be coming back to his own. He finally, after the first couple of weeks, kind of had this, he's always going to have his, smash the button plays. Just you have no idea what's going on. But I like him this week. I think it's going to be a shootout. So there's going to be points. So I like Josh Allen in that one. Also, Patrick Mahomes wouldn't be hurt either. But Asher, you're up, buddy.
Absolutely. So it's funny that you actually brought up Kirk Cousins earlier because he is my stardom quarterback for the week. And the reason I say this is because he has done historically well against Detroit. He's scored over 30 points like 3 or 4 times in the past couple of years. He has not dipped below 20 points against Detroit, and Detroit's defense does not look the greatest this year. I'm not going to lie. They don't look like a great team at all. Terribly well-rounded team. And Kirk Cousins, they're finally starting to show – he's starting to finally show that he needs to be in a pass-first – or not pass-first, but like a pass-more offense. And he showed he could lit up the scoreboard. So I'm going with Kirk Cousins this week.
I love that pick. Love it. Just because, like, I'm not gonna lie, we did rip on Kirk Cousins, and then it was more in like the beginning of the year, but because he put up huge numbers and like he's put up huge numbers like every week basically. But we ripped on him in like after the first week, and then you kind of just realize you're like, wait, he's like throwing for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns a game basically. So you can rip him all you want. He's probably not going to win you a Super Bowl, but he's putting up points in fantasy. So
yeah. Oh, absolutely, yeah. No, he already has 6, 7, 8, 9 touchdowns this year.
Yeah, I mean he's got more. Right. I think he's got more. Go ahead, Stas. Tom, go ahead.
I was just going to say he's averaging 20 points a week, almost 21 points a week. And according to Football Outsiders, the Detroit Lions rank 30th in pass defense. So I agree 100%. I was considering throwing Kirk in there, but I ended up going with Sam. But yeah, that's just a fantastic pick, and I love the call.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So I like all three of those for us. We're going to switch it around. We're going to go Asher, Tom, me. Asher, your stardom running back.
Stardom running back. All right, this is going to be an oddball one. Nobody's going to see this coming straight out of left field. It should be more so a sleeper pick, but I like Kenneth Gainwell. I like him this week because he seems more versatile than Miles Sanders is. He's quicker off the ball. He's a little bit more elusive than Miles Sanders is. And going against the defense he has to go against this week, Miles Sanders is not going to be able to put up as many points as you think he will. I think they're going to rely more heavily on Kenneth Gainwell.
I like that. I've heard his name float around all week. And yeah, I like that. It's a good pick. Tom?
I am not going to comment on him because I will be talking about that later on with my picks. Yeah. So I am not going to be discussing that at this time.
So you don't have a running back?
Oh, I thought you were asking me my opinion on it.
No, yeah. We can give our opinions whenever we want. Let's get through the segment, Tom. Come on.
I'm okay. I know I had him a couple of times already on this show. I know he had a bad week last week, but I really see Damon Harris bouncing back this week. He started off hot with 117 yards from scrimmage in the opener, but then had a tough 2 weeks when he was playing the Saints and the Bucs defenses. But the Texans are just a perfect week for him to bounce back for. He is going to rack up the carries. He's going to get I think he's going to get a lot more touches out of the backfield after watching the game last week. And Houston is giving up the 9th most. Oh,
Dalvin Cook's
that's
out.
Not good.
Dalvin
Cook is out.
Yeah.
All right, cool. That's awesome that I'm up next then. I'm going to go with Alexander Mattison.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
I was looking at mine. I was like, oh, God, someone's looking out for me. After yesterday's losses, someone's looking out for me. I will go with Alexander Mattison. It's not only is he like Cook's backup necessarily, but when he is the sole running back, he's still very, very good. So it's a good play, especially if Cook is out, because the only thing I worry about with him is if the Vikings get maybe a little too pass happy. But either way, Alexander Mattison's a good play with Dalvin Cook's out, and that was just perfect timing. So I love it.
I just want to throw out one more thing about. Yeah.
Go ahead, yeah, no problem. Ashley.
I'm doing the same thing on my phone. One last thing I want to add with Damon Harris. Houston is giving up the 9th most fantasy points to running backs this year, so that just adds on to the value that I see with Harris today.
Okay.
Leonard Fournette, that's who I wanted to go with my starter. Oh well.
I was thinking that. All right. Head to
Houston
our
as a sleeper.
We're gonna head to our receivers. Easy enough. Thank you, Corey. Now there I have 2 Vikings in a row. I'm going with Justin Jefferson. Like he talked about, as we talked about earlier, it almost takes him and Kirk Cousins like a couple weeks to get in sync. But at least they do get in sync, unlike Baker Mayfield and OBJ. But that's another story for another time. But I love Jefferson. We were just talking about him. I mean, it's crazy. He's the best rookie of that class, rookie receiver of that class, and I think it's by a long shot. I like Jefferson here. I would go with Jefferson. Go ahead. Who's next? Tom, you're next.
I'm up. All right. I am going to be going with a guy that I absolutely despise, and I am very, very sad that I'm going to have to jump on the train this week. Hollywood Brown versus Indianapolis. We've seen him play very, very well and very, very crap. He's currently has 326 yards and 3 touchdowns on the year. I really don't like playing him, especially with the fact that he has a running back throwing him the football. But the Colts currently give up the 8th most points to the wide receiver position. Their corners are a little bit slower than desired. And Hollywood Brown, I think, is going to be able to find some holes and find the creases and potentially rip off a couple of long passes that could lead to some touchdowns. So I'm going with Hollywood Brown this week.
I like that. Well, I don't actually. I'm not gonna lie to you. I hate that. Hollywood Brown. Hollywood Brown straight up can't catch footballs. Like he cannot catch. Whatever, Tom. Terrible.
He is what we all thought Jamar Chase would be.
Luckily, I have Jamar Chase as well. Asher, you're up, bud.
All right, my starter pick for wide receiver is Deebo Samuel. I'm going to go Deebo this week because I hate to always rely on using my Vikings as like a backstory, but the Vikings went up against Arizona in a run-first offense, and Kirk Cousins lit them up in the air. Imagine what Trey Lance will be able to do in connection with Deebo Samuel this game against a weak Arizona Cardinals secondary. It's going to be a sweet week for Deebo.
I really hope so because he's also on like one of my breakout stars this year. Whatever. And yeah, don't worry about the background thing on Minnesota. Like half of my picks end up being Browns players, so don't worry about it.
There you go.
That's true.
Yeah. I'm gonna start. Speaking of, we're at your stardom tight ends. I'm gonna go with Browns tight end Austin Hooper. We just saw that Njoku. I think Njoku will end up playing. It's just kind of the guy he is. It's kind of I would expect him to play. But either way, obviously Baker's arm and it's whatever injury it is, it's affected him. So he is going when they get in the red zone. And if they're not running the ball in the red zone, they're going to be doing probably 3 tight end sets. So and I would if Njoku's out or if he's in, Austin Hooper's. I would predict him to get 8 to 10 targets today with like 4 or 5 in the red zone at least. I really like Austin Hooper this week. I really don't like him that much overall, but I really like Austin Hooper this week. Actually, we'll go with you, man.
For tight ends, I have Dalton Knox. It's going to be a very, very high-scoring game between these Chiefs and Buffalo Bills, and they're going to have to go in the air. In order to win this game, they're going to have to go into the air. And I feel like Josh Allen sees Dalton Knox as a viable touchdown target in the red zone. And Dalton Knox, I feel like, is going to light up the scoreboard.
I like that as well. I think, Tom, did you have something close to that?
Yeah, I also was going with Dawson Knox versus the Chiefs. 4 touchdowns on 15 catches so far. The Chiefs give up the 7th most points at the position, so I do love that. I am also going to go with Noah Fant versus the Steelers. If you look at the opponents the Steelers have played, the tight ends generally get opportunity in the red zone, and because Fant is a little more athletic than some of the other guys the Steelers have gone up against, I am going with Noah Fant here.
I like Noah Fant. I do like Noah Fant. And you got to also remember, him and Hawk are probably both going to have great games today after Iowa's big win yesterday. So, yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, I'm sure that affects them greatly. All right. Let's go to our sit players. Asher, why don't you start, man?
All right. For my sit-em this week, and it's tough to say this because I love this guy so much, especially after what he did last year, but I'm sitting Justin Herbert. I'm sitting Justin Herbert because of the lethal Cleveland secondary that's been playing out of their mind the past couple of weeks. I know that Justin Herbert's this gunslinger, this young gun coming in with weapons like Mike Williams and Keenan Allen, but at the same time, I just cannot trust a quarterback against Cleveland right now. After what they've done the past 2 weeks, I just can't do it. So I'm sitting Justin Herbert this week.
That is so unfortunate to hear because we are the biggest Justin Herbert fanboys here. And you know what? I'm accepting it. I'm okay with it, Hasher.
I love Justin Herbert. Don't get me wrong. I love the guy.
I want to say this too. I usually do my sit 'em, start 'em, and sleep 'em like 30 minutes before the show. This is one I had in for like since Tuesday, and I had Justin Herbert to sit as well because I don't know why the Browns defense decided to be good these last 3 weeks. They've given up 10 points in the last 10 quarters. And Asher's right. I don't want to toot the Browns on horn, but that secondary when everyone's healthy is one of the best in the NFL. And Herbert he was inconsistent last year at points. He's been pretty consistent this year. But that the Browns defense right now is on fire with Jadeveon Clowney also getting after Jadeveon Clowney and Myles Garrett getting after him. This is also a pretty big game for the Browns. So I expect the defense and guys like Myles Garrett to come to play. So I'm not even going to try and pick another one. I completely agree. Herbert could end up with 100 points, but I don't think he's going to I sit him. Yeah. I sit Justin Herbert. Tom, you. I'm a huge Justin Herbert fan too. He's my probably my third favorite quarterback.
I will just point out the last time we had someone come on here and sit Justin Herbert, it was Corey versus I forget who it was, and he ended up going for like 30 or 40 points, and I was good with it. So I welcome it. I love Justin Herbert, and we need him in our dynasty, JB.
That's great. I honestly, man, I like fantasy this year. It's my first time doing it. It's fun. I like it. I still like the Browns more than I like fantasy. So
fair enough.
I tell you.
With that being said, I am going to bench a guy that I have been using as my sleeper a lot, and a guy that I've been wanting to play as a stardom. I'm benching Taylor Heineke. He's been playing really well so far since taking over. I think he's quarterback 13, the 14 overall fantasy producer this year. But that Saints D has really shut down corners and quarterbacks. And their corners, I think, are going to be able to kind of control. I won't say they'll shut down the Washington receivers, but I will say that they will control the Washington receivers and not give up too many big plays like we've seen Terry McLaurin rip off this year. So I'm going with Taylor Heineke versus the Saints as my sit-em.
I got you. All right, Asher, we'll head to you with running backs.
Yeah, this is also going to be out of left field. Even though he's questionable, or even though he's going to be playing after being questionable and missing practice all week, did not attend a single session. I'm sitting Joe Mixon this week. I understand that he's going against a Green Bay secondary that, running backs have found their holes in. I just can't. You can't start Joe Mixon, especially missing not only every single session, but has shown that he won't be reliable on injuries. He's an injury-prone player. So if he decides to play on this injury, odds are he might get injured again. I hate to say it, and I hope he doesn't, but Joe Mixon's just not a viable fantasy option this week.
Gotcha. Tom.
Yeah, I think that's one of the more popular ones, and I understand it. I'm pissed that I'm in the situation I have to end up playing him. I said we talk about it a little later, but I'm sitting Miles Sanders this week. Sanders only has a 60-40 advantage in terms of snaps over Kenneth Gainwell up the middle. And Gainwell's role in the passing game has been growing week to week, and I think we continue to see that going into this week, which takes away from some of Sanders' PPR value. And you're going up against you're going up against Carolina, who I believe is top 7 in run defense, number 1. And I think they're in top 9 for fantasy points given up to a running back. So everything is just pointing for this to not be a good day for the Eagles on the ground and potentially through the air.
I feel you. All right. My sit-in for running back, you got to sit Najee Harris this week. Denver's defense is the best in the league probably. And not only is he behind a terrible offensive line, his quarterback also can't throw the ball more than about 10 yards. So anything that he gets is going to be, Denver is probably going to load the box with 7 or 8 guys and see what happens. So I would sit Najee Harris this week. He hasn't, of all the rookies that I thought was supposed to be like big impact guys, and it's not necessarily his fault. Pittsburgh's just in a terrible situation right now. But yeah, he's not performed up to par lately at all. So, in Denver's defense, Vic Fangio's always had one of the best defenses in the NFL, probably the best defensive coordinator in the NFL, even though he's the head coach. But I sit Najee Harris this week. All right, Tom, we'll start with you. Go ahead to your receivers. Your receiver.
Staying in the same game, I'm actually benching Juju this week versus Denver. You mentioned how Ben can't throw the ball more than 10 yards down the field. I agree 100% with that. I think that the Denver pass rush is going to get to Ben, and because he is about as mobile as a tree, he's not going to be able to get from the pass rush. And I agree. I think this is just going to be a very difficult game for the Steelers this week.
Cool. I got you. I feel that. Asher.
Oh my God, my mind. Yeah. Sorry. To go in line with my quarterback sit, I'm going to sit Mike Williams this week. In line with the Justin Herbert pick, it's going to be tough to get the ball into the air against the Cleveland Browns secondary. Especially Justin Herbert's going to have to go to Keenan Allen to get some work done, and I don't see much targets going Mike Williams' way, so I'm sitting Mike Williams this week.
Mike Williams, yeah, cool. I feel that.
Makes sense.
So I'm going to go with one that's a little bit kind of out of left field. Might not make a lot of sense. Hold on, I'm checking something really quick. You give me a second.
For sure. And I'll take this time as well. If anyone has any comments, okay.
Sorry. So I am going to sit Antonio Brown this week. Antonio Brown has been really, really good the past couple of weeks. It finally seems like he has his, when his connection with Big Ben, it kind of seems like they have that going on right now. However, Miami is terrible. They are, but they have the fourth best secondary in the league. So I would assume they're probably going to put either probably Xavier Howard or Byron Jones on him, but one of the two, and they're probably going to shade to his way as well. So I would sit Antonio Brown this week. I just don't think this is one of the days he has a great game. All right, Asher.
Fair enough.
Tight end. Who you sitting at tight end this week, man?
Oh, man. I haven't really looked much into tight ends, but one tight end that I know that I won't ever be able to start is Robert Tonyan for the rest of the year. First off, I'm going to go with Robert Tonyan and sit. Cincinnati has done pretty well against tight ends this past season, and Robert Tonyan just hasn't been getting the same targets that he has.
It's been very weird. He had such a really good breakout season last year, and you haven't heard anything from him. It's weird. And another, I guess I'll ask you because you probably know more. You're more familiar with the Packers. Obviously, Devontae Adams is very, very good. It seems like he's been super quiet this year.
Yeah, for the most part. Yeah, he has. Aaron Rodgers, he's coming up on a contract year after wanting to be traded all season, and he's just trying to utilize every weapon possible because he hasn't been getting any. They won't draft a weapon for Aaron Rodgers. So he's just trying to prove he could still move the ball anywhere he wants.
I feel you. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's just weird. I mean, I know Devontae Adams went high in a lot of drafts, which I guess we could actually kind of talk about this right now because it's going on. Kyle Pitts finally decided to show up for a game, which is huge for me considering I drafted him in all my leagues for the most part. So I'm just happy that Kyle Pitts and the Falcons found out that they could throw the ball to him because that's what they should do.
Yeah. And keep in mind, Aaron Rodgers also got his favorite weapon back, Randall Cobb. So
I know, and he had a big week last week.
Yeah,
I think he scored the game winner. Or was it a 2-point conversion or the touchdown? I don't know, but he played a big role in that as well. Tom, I hope you have someone to make up for Robert Tonyan.
Yeah. Like I said, Tonyan being tight end 29 is just red flags as is, but Cincinnati also gives up the 6th fewest points to the tight end position, so almost top 5. So I also had Tonyan, but I will pivot over to a guy that everyone is getting really, really hype about for no reason. CJ Uzomah. I understand that he scored 2 touchdowns last week, and Burrow and him have had a connection in the games. It's CJ Uzama. I mean, it's not like we're talking about George Kittle or TJ Hawkins. It's CJ Uzama. Yes, he got lucky and broke a tackle or two once or twice to get towards the end zone. I really don't think he's going to have a big game, especially with T. Higgins coming back. I don't know if Higgins played the full game on Thursday night last week, but with T. Higgins coming back and then Chase and Boyd playing as well as they have so far, I think Uzama is the one that gets hurt, especially with Joe Mixon not playing at 100% as well.
I got you. That was a whole thing last week. Was like these guys are like have such a great connection. It's like I've never seen Joe Burrow throw to Uzama more than once in a game. So, I'm going to make a kind of shocking pick, really. But this is kind of more just opinion. I don't know about fact based, but it's kind of opinion. I think a lot of people are going to jump to start OJ Howard because Gronk's out. I would not play OJ Howard because I think Brady's thing with Gronk it's a connection thing. So if Gronk's not there, I just don't think he's going to look for OJ Howard as much. I really don't. I think he's going to look for Antonio Brown, those guys, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans as well. I just don't. I don't see him having a connection like he does with Gronk. Like that he doesn't have one with OJ Howard. So I just wouldn't jump off the boat right now and grab up OJ Howard.
That and they also have another tight end in Cameron Brate.
Yes, you are right.
He looks.
Yes, this is why you guys are so great in this show because you guys are so much smarter than me. But I forgot about that. But yeah, OJ Howard, I love him in Madden, but he's not great in real life. So
yeah,
I love him in Madden.
I mean, unfortunately, Asher, I don't get a lot of my takes, but I relate back to Madden a lot, unfortunately.
Yeah, I like it.
All right. Let's go to our sleepers. We didn't pick defenses. Do we want to go defenses? I have them if we want to do defenses. If not, we can just keep going.
I don't think defenses and kickers matter much, to be honest.
Yeah, you're good. Cool. All right. Let's go with our sleepers. I'll start this one at quarterback. I like Justin Fields as a sleeper this week. Las Vegas is good. They have a decent defense, but I liked how he looked last week, and I really like his connection with a certain someone that I'll probably say later. But he's prone to have a good game at some point, and I just think the Raiders, after coming, didn't they lose last week, right? Yeah, they did. Coming off a loss, I just don't think – and then with all the things going on in the background, but with Gruden and everything, I think Justin Fields is going to have I think he's going to have the best day out of all the rookies. I think it would be worth it to at least – if you're in a super flex league, put him in that second super flex spot. All right, Asher?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Trey Lance this week. He's finally getting the starting gig in San Francisco. It's about time, too. I think Trey Lance is gonna come out and show that he's ready for the NFL level. Last week he had half the reps that any other normal quarterback would have in a game. I think he had like 17 attempts, and he still put up 20 points. I think Trey Lance has a good opportunity against the Arizona Cardinals to show what he can really do.
I agree. I agree, and I really can't think of a better coach in the NFL than Kyle Shanahan to like break in a rookie quarterback. Like Kyle Shanahan's going to have a game plan built around making Trey Lance successful. Thanks, Corey, for telling us that defenses do matter. Thanks, man.
He's right.
Not in this context.
Yeah, I'm more with you, Asher. I agree. All right, we'll go to you. Wait, who's up? Tom, are you up? You're up, Tom. QB.
I'm up. All right. Before I get to that, I just got a text from my buddy Jake, and Jake has a question regarding his lineup for a PPR flex. Do you start Leonard Fournette, Jalen Waddle, or Chuba Hubbard?
Wow. Well, I'm going to take Chuba Hubbard out of there. I like both Jalen Waddle and Leonard Fournette for reasons that I will get into later on. But yeah, I would in my opinion, I'd probably go with Leonard Fournette in the situation.
I agree. I go with Leonard Fournette just because the quarterback situation in Miami is always dicey, and they do seem to get Waddle the ball in decent amount, but it doesn't seem like they set him up for success where they get him the ball sometimes. So
I like Waddle this week though because Devontae Parker is out.
yeah, I mean, who are their others receivers? Yeah, well, yeah. I would still go with Fournette.
Preston Williams.
Yeah, I would still go with Fournette. I think he's due for a big game at some point. So, all right, Tom.
I would probably go Hubbard myself on that, but I could also see going Fournette. Moving on to my sleeper quarterback. I know I just bashed and pooped on his tight end, but I'm going with Joe Burrow versus Green Bay. We saw him kind of light it up on Thursday Night Football, and I understand it was the Jacksonville Jaguars, but I am very excited to see these Bengals receivers against the Packer defense that is without Jair Alexander.
Yeah, that's huge.
But without Jair, I don't really see. Yeah, Corey. Both are great options there. Is he?
I don't think that. I don't love Hubbard. I'll say that I'm not a big fan of Hubbard. I don't think when he plays over McCaffrey, I don't think they really use him that much or in that well. So, but we'll take that off. All right. Starting with running backs. Asher, let's go with you, man. What? Oh,
I was still just going to finish up. Oh, well, that, and I was going to finish up with Joe Burrow. I think that he's going to be able to move the ball freely on the Packers secondary. I've
been really surprised with how good Joe Burrow's been this year. All right, from Tom's dad, great. After killing me by dissing Herbert and Williams, what are your thoughts on Daniel Jones as a sleeper QB?
Ooh, honestly, I just started thinking about that. Who is he playing?
Dallas.
I wouldn't play him this week.
I'm very afraid.
Dallas leads the NFL in turnover ratio.
Because of Trevon Diggs.
Yeah, but they still lead.
Yeah, I was going to say, Trevon Diggs is on that team.
I wouldn't play Daniel Jones. I just think he's still too inconsistent and makes too many turnovers. And against a team like Dallas that's, getting turnovers, I would not play him. But you guys can have different opinions, obviously. Asher, you have a different opinion?
About Daniel Jones? No.
Yeah. Okay, good. All right. Asher will start running backs. Sleeper running back, man.
Yeah. I was saying earlier that I probably should have went with Leonard Fournette with a start and Kenneth Gainwell with a sleeper, but I'll switch them around. The running back situation in Tampa is always, back and forth between him and Ronald Jones, but I truly believe that Leonard Fournette is the more versatile back, pass catching and finding the holes. I think Leonard Fournette, even though he was injury prone, is a better starting running back than Ronald Jones is. And I see Fournette having a great game against a weak Miami run defense. So my sleeper pick is going to be Leonard Fournette.
I like that. I like that a lot. Tom.
I'm going with the most popular waiver pickup this week. Damian Williams versus Las Vegas. We started to see David Montgomery become the David Montgomery of the last 5 weeks of last season when he was playing as the RB5. Unfortunately, he had that injury. And unfortunately for everyone, Bill Lazor is still not calling plays in Chicago. It is still Matt Nagy. So as long as Matt Nagy is calling plays, I do not see the passing game taking off nearly as much as everyone is expecting it to with Justin Fields. And Las Vegas, the one place that they've been most susceptible this season, I believe, is on the run or just coming out of the backfield. So with Williams having the pass catching ability and the opportunity to run the ball, I could see him having a really solid day. Even though a lot of people are expecting it, I could see him getting maybe 15, 17 points at most, with his floor being around 12. So I'm going with Damian Williams as my sleeper.
Okay, cool. So this is a guy that I'm going to pick that teams probably drafted very high, and then have kind of soured on, and you're almost at the point where you're going to just sit him permanently. My sleeper is Saquon Barkley for the Giants. I really like what the Giants have done with him. Obviously his running game is not back to where it was yet, but last week you saw it. They utilized him out of the backfield in the passing game a lot more. I think that helped out Daniel Jones a tremendous amount, knowing that he has a check down like that. I really like what they're doing with him at this point. I don't know if he'll ever be the same running back rise that he used to be because of the injury, but they've developed a way to get him in the game, almost like the Panthers used Christian McCaffrey to get him in the game through the passing game. So I would I would play Saquon this week. Yeah. All right. Wide receiver, Asher, we'll start with you, man.
All right, I'm gonna go with Jalen Waddle. I know this. I was between on that last question. I was between Fournette and Jalen Waddle. Ultimately, went with Fournette, but Waddle is also a great sleeper pick for me. Their top three wide receivers were what? Fuller, Devontae Parker, and Jalen Waddle. Well, Will Fuller's out. Devontae Parker's out. Now he has to Jacoby Brissett, if he wants to get the passing game going, which he's going to have to against the Tampa Bay team. He's going to have to get the ball to Gesicki and to Waddle. So those Waddle's my sleeper pick this week. The thing about him though is that people are like, oh, he's a rookie. He's not going to be able to, withstand this tight Tampa Bay defense. The thing with Waddle though is he's so fast and he knows how to run his routes. He knows how to create room. So as long as Jacoby Brissett can lead him a little bit, Waddle can get to the ball and make big plays. So I'm going Waddle.
Yeah, I like that pick. They, in my opinion, the Dolphins need to look at the way they utilize Waddle. When he was in college, they almost like a lot of screens, a lot of crossing routes, a lot of things like that, just to get him on the run. So I like that pick, and I'm a big fan of Jalen Waddle. I mean, we all saw how fast he was when he was still hurt in the college football championship last year. So he's an absolute game breaker. Does he return punts or kicks for them or no?
I'm not quite sure, actually.
Okay.
To be honest with you.
No,
I don't think so.
I would only think punts if he did anything, but it was just kind of a question. No worries. I do like that, though. I think Jalen Waddle is going to come into his own at some point. But I do think, this different topic for a different time, but Miami needs to find themselves a quarterback. So,
yeah, for real.
All right. Tom, wide receiver, man.
I am going with someone that Justin and I have talked about extensively, and I personally really, really like. I would almost borderline say I love him, especially this week. Laviska Shenault versus Tennessee. We watched Tennessee just give up 20 points to Corey Davis. I know betting on Jacksonville and putting faith in the Jacksonville offense is very scary, but they're not a team that's going to run the ball down your throat, obviously, because Urban Meyer just doesn't like utilizing James Robinson, I guess. But Shenault, we just saw last week go off for 17 points versus the Cincinnati defense, which their secondary is light years, I would say, better than Tennessee's defense or secondary. And when Shenault was taking the ball over the top on Jesse Bates, it still ended up working. So I could see I really like Shenault to just absolutely eat these Tennessee defenders and corners in general.
Yeah, I feel that a lot. I feel that. All right. I don't know. I say I feel that way too much, so you can just tell me to stop. For my receiver, I'm also sticking with the Bears here. I had Allen Robinson written down because he is going to have a good game at some point, but I changed it. Darnell Mooney had a really good week last week. Clearly, I think he's Fields' favorite target right now. And when you become the favorite target with a rookie quarterback, that means at least almost on 90% of every route, they're going to be looking at you at some point. So I like Darnell Mooney a lot this week. I don't think the Bears are very good, and I still don't trust Matt Nagy. But I do think Justin Fields is going to be a good quarterback in the NFL, and he has instincts. And, if you look back to his college days at Ohio State, granted, he was very good. He was very good. But what Ohio State did that got him so many yards was the little crossing routes over the middle where they could get guys with speed, and that's exactly what they need to do with Darnell Mooney. So I really like him this week. Tom, your hand is raised. Go ahead.
Little update on the Jet game. Michael Carter just scored from how many yards out was that? 39 yards out. He scored a 39-yard rushing touchdown. Michael Carter has now scored in back-to-back games, I believe it is. So he's a guy going forward. I know we don't really talk about guys to pick up necessarily, but a guy to keep your eye on and potentially stash. Michael Carter is looking like he's starting to take over that backfield and become the true one. He's currently got 17 points already this week, and I have him on my bench.
Oh,
so
I mean, you can't, there's no situation
Michael,
there you can really start him.
Yeah. That up until a game like this, until we start to see him. I also have Hubbard as my RB2 because I've gotten destroyed by injuries, so I could have started him this week. But Michael Carter having a day, and also as Corey mentioned. Did they just take that touchdown off the board? I don't know. I don't have the game up anymore because it was messing up the stream. But Corey mentioned as well, Kyle Pitts is absolutely going off. He has 7 catches for 76 yards and a touchdown, almost 20 fantasy points, having himself a day.
Finally.
Right? Well, yeah, thank
Finally,
God.
Finally, indeed.
Tommy, you want me?
I will put this up for you guys first.
Jalen Waddle.
100% Jalen Waddle.
That's not even close. I mean,
is Sammy Watkins hurt?
He has made absolutely no impact on the Ravens at all. So
yeah.
Oh, wait. Bro, he's playing me. He's asking that question about playing me.
Oh, nuts.
Oh. No.
Good. Good. No. Mr. Bennett, keep asking. I will give you all of my good answers to beat Tom so he knows the pain I felt yesterday. Let's move on to tight ends, our sleeper tight ends. Asher, let's go with you, my man.
All right. My sleeper tight end this week is going to be Tyler Conklin for the Minnesota Vikings. We got Chris Herndon.
He stole literally every one of my tight end picks.
So I know we brought Chris Herndon in because Irv Smith was out, but Chris Herndon hasn't had a single target all season. Tyler Conklin seems like the clear-cut tight end 1, and this is going to be a vicious air passing game for the Vikings. I can just feel it. And Tyler Conklin will be a reliable red zone target going forward. So I'm going to go with Conklin.
I like that. Is he related to Jack, the right tackle for the Browns? He's got to be, right?
I have no clue.
I think they both. I'm pretty sure they both went to Michigan State, but I'll check that. All right, Tom, do you have a tight end, or are you still lamenting over?
I need a second.
All right. This is another guy out of left field, and this could be my bias as well. But as I said earlier, I think the Browns are going to go with a lot of 3 tight end sets this week. They're going to run the ball and run the ball and run the ball until they can get them with play action. And then with David Njoku being questionable, like I said, he's going to play probably, in my opinion. But instead of David Njoku as my sleeper, Harrison Bryant I like as a sleeper to get about maybe 1 touchdown this week, at least. Just because, like I said, they run 3 wide receiver sets. People don't realize how good Harrison Bryant is. He won the Mackey Award his senior year in college. He just has 2 really good tight ends in front of him. But he caught 3 touchdowns last year. So I just think like I said, I think they try to run the ball a lot to set up play action. And I think Harrison Bryant is in the red zone. He's very good. So I like Harrison Bryant to get a touchdown or 2 today. All right. So
it's not like I got picks just taken here or there. It was literally all of my tight ends, which I want to know what the odds are on that, man.
Incredible.
So in light of that, I will be taking again another very popular waiver pickup, kind of going in conjunction with someone's sleeper. I forget who. Ross Dwelly versus Arizona. With Lance making his first start, I can see Deebo Samuel having a big day. Honestly, maybe Ayuk can get more involved because they're going to try and keep a lot more of the passes towards the line of scrimmage instead of pushing it downfield potentially. But whenever that comes about and whenever that starts up, it's usually the tight end that benefits most from that. So with George Kittle out, Ross Dwelly, he's probably I see in a couple of my leagues he's still available for pickup, and he would be a great DFS play as well because he's probably not going to be worth nearly as much as Kittle would be worth, especially because they set the pricing usually on Saturday nights before all of the injuries come out. So you might be able to get Dwelly for a not huge hit if you're looking for DFS.
I like it.
All right. Let's just kind of get into some of the games. Like we said, Asher, you can stay on for as long as you want. Leave whatever you want. Just let us know. Let's talk about some of the games, and I guess I'll ask you, Asher. You gamble at all or no?
I dabble here and there.
Okay. All right.
Not much so.
Because I usually get into my picks for the week. But I think let's just talk about some of the more interesting games going on today. Hopefully some questions flood in. Who knows? What do you guys think about the Arizona San Francisco game tonight or this afternoon? I believe Arizona's obviously been great. Kyler Murray's been awesome. But if there's a defense that I think is good enough to stop them or a defensive game plan that's good enough to stop them, I think it would be the 49ers. I still think Kyler Murray has a big week, but I don't know. I think it's going to be an exciting game. What are your thoughts on that game, guys?
I thought it was going to be the Rams that had the best defensive scheme to stop them, but apparently not. Arizona just seems to, find a way to win games. With Kyler Murray, I don't know if he's watching game tape or if it's just flat-out skill that's destroying these defenses, but he played really well against the Rams last week, so San Francisco has their work cut out for them. I think that game, the biggest highlight is to see what Trey Lance can do with the ball as starting quarterback. I think that's the biggest must-watch.
Yeah, I agree. So I know me and Tom have talked a lot about this. You think the Cardinals are for real?
I think the Cardinals are for real. I
do too.
AJ Green is starting to show that he can still play football. That's dangerous, especially when we got D-Hop on the other side of him and Christian Kirk in the slot.
Yes.
Jeez
and
Louise.
Rondale Moore.
Yeah. Rondale Moore's been awesome. Well, he hasn't been awesome lately. He was really awesome like the first 2 weeks. He hasn't been that great lately. But yeah, and obviously their offense is high-powered, explosive. I mean, that's what Cliff Kingsbury was brought in to do. So we got to give him respect for that. But I also think people overlook their defense. Their defense in about a year or two might be the best in the NFL. They're very young. Budda Baker, Isaiah Simmons, Hassan Reddick, Byron Murphy, who's been off the charts this year. I think, and then the guy they just drafted, Zaven Collins. I haven't heard much of his name. I don't know if he's playing or not, but I think they could have one of the better defenses maybe towards the end of the year. But I agree. I think the Cardinals are for real, which is kind of surprising because I really never thought almost an air raid. Well, I'd say it's not an air raid really. It's not an air raid, but I was just surprised by it. All right, let's go to who's the Sunday night game tonight? Obviously, probably what everyone is most anticipated and hoping to watch. What do we think about the AFC Championship game rematch tonight on Sunday night? First question, Asher, what time will that be on for you?
That is going to be on at 1:20, but I don't work tomorrow.
Oh, so, nice.
Yeah.
So you guys got a holiday?
1:20 a.m. Yeah, it's tomorrow's Columbus Day.
Oh, I forgot. Okay. Yeah, you're right.
But it's going to be on at 1:20 a.m., but I'm staying up for that game. I have to watch that game. Are you kidding me?
So I guess, Tom, everyone, let's hop in on this one. Who has a better game, Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes? Because I think when Patrick Mahomes in the beginning of the year was having these, he just didn't look like himself. I think after the last week, he's kind of come back into himself. But I think Josh Allen plays better than him in this game. I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts?
I personally think that Patrick Mahomes is going to have a better game. They're both fantastic quarterbacks. They both can get the ball to the receivers. It's going to come down to who can make the more critical plays. And Patrick Mahomes is so versatile. He's the one that's going to be able to mix it up and keep the defense on their toes. Where Josh Allen, he has a gun, but he's not so much doing these magic tricks that Patrick Mahomes can pull out of his hat. So I think Patrick Mahomes has a little bit better of a game, but it's going to be a very close game.
Yeah. See, the thing is with Allen is he tries to pull like the rabbit out of the hat like Patrick Mahomes does, but he just ends up failing and like running into people or throwing an interception or throwing it to nobody. I like Josh Allen, but he, like I don't know why I call him, but like he always has a couple plays a game where you're just like, he's back at Wyoming and just playing college football right now. Like, what is he doing? So
I can see how you could edge out Josh Allen though, because I mean Buffalo has a better defense. KC does not have that great of a defense. I'm not saying they're bad by any means, but they're like average. And I've seen what Josh Allen could do against average defenses, so it's going to be a close one.
Yeah, and then go ahead, Tom.
I was just going to say, whenever I hear the question or I get asked the question of like Mahomes or Allen, who has a better week, it's never which one I think is going to play better than the other. It's whether or not Josh Allen can outperform Patrick Mahomes. Because when you look at Patrick Mahomes and the game that he plays, he's going to consistently put up anywhere between 25 and 40 points. Like that's what he's going to be, because he's going to run and gun and throw really long touchdowns like we saw to Tyreek Hill. He's going to find Kelsey in the red zone. He's going to move the ball and wheel and deal. It's whether or not Josh Allen will be able to do the same thing, or if he'll be able to not mess up as much. Like Justin mentioned, when he goes into that Wyoming football mode, he goes and makes some really stupid throws because he's just trying to rely on his arm. So I agree with what you guys are saying. I think Mahomes will end up having the better game overall. But I also just want to point out, I think the Buffalo defense, obviously they just played the Texans and they're coming off the high of playing the Texans, but I think that they're going to be motivated, I think, and believe that they can actually stop this juggernaut offense, which morale plays a very big factor in as well. So I think it'll be close. I think Mahomes will edge out Allen for the game, but it's going to be one of the best duels that we'll get to watch this year.
Yeah, almost like the Rams and 49ers game a few years back. Or no, it wasn't them. It was, who was it? It was like a 50
Rams
to 50
Chiefs
point game. Rams Chiefs, that's what it was. Yeah. I think hopefully we'll have a game like that.
Yeah. Other games on the schedule. I guess I'll ask you two for your guys' both opinion, because I haven't heard anything outside of it. What do you guys think about the Browns Chargers game today?
Low scoring game.
Really? I haven't seen anyone predict that.
Yeah, I'm predicting a low scoring game. It's going to be tough because I want to believe that Cleveland can put up points. I just don't know if they can do it consistently. I've seen what Baker can do when he's on a roll, and if he's able to get on that roll, it's not going to be close. Browns are going to be able to edge out this win, but seeing as if they're not very consistent, they rely heavily on their two-headed monster in the backfield. I don't know. It's going to be shaky at best, but I see a low-scoring game based off just defensive battles.
I got you, Tom.
Yeah, I think that Charger defense is very slept on. Watching them on Monday Night Football versus the Raiders, who are one of the hottest teams, definitely I would say the most unexpected hot team in the NFL. Watching them, especially in that first half, just absolutely dominate, to me really shows like how slept on I think the Chargers defense is, because when you go back and you look at who they've played up until this point, they had Washington week 1. I'm going to actually very quickly pull up the actual numbers instead of trying to just guess the numbers. Washington week 1, they held them to, what is that? 14 points or 17 points or something like that. As I'm going to spit out their fantasy numbers because, whatever. They put up 6 points on a Washington offense everyone was anticipating was going to be very good. They held Dallas offense where they also got 6 fantasy points. Again, another offense that has been known to move the ball. Then versus the Chiefs, they put up 12 fantasy points versus the most high-powered offense in the NFL. And then when we get to the Raiders, they got 8 fantasy points. So this is a defense that is playing very, very well right now and playing a lot better than a lot of people give them credit for. So I agree. I think this is going to be a very low scoring game. If the Browns defense plays like they've been playing recently, it's going to be an unexpected gem of the season, I think.
Yeah, I honestly, I've taken the Browns money line. I took it. I think that the Browns opened as favorites. I think it closed at 2.5, or it's going to close at 2.5, depending on what happens. But I just hope the Browns win. I just don't know if they're going to be able. The defense is going to have to play lights out, just because I don't think Baker's going to be as effective with the shoulder harness and everything like that. Not that it really matters, because I think Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt are really, really good. And then when they get in the red zone, Baker has at least enough, it doesn't hurt him that bad to throw to one of the tight ends in the end zone. I'm just really hoping they win. But I am also very scared this is a game that the Browns shrivel back into the week 1 version of themselves that just don't play defense. And Justin Herbert and Mike Williams and Keenan Allen light us up for 45 points. I'm hoping that's not it. But who knows? Who knows? I'm going to get into my picks then for today. What did I go last week? I went 4-1 last week against the spread, I believe, and the Let's Rock parlay hit last week. I have a very good one again this week. I would suggest that you all take it. But I'll just go over my picks real quick. If you guys have any comments on it, feel free. Or if you have any picks to give out yourself, feel free. Obviously, I just talked about it. My first pick is the Browns money line. This is more of an emotional thing, so I just want them to win, and I need them to win because I did not win a lot yesterday in college football. They right now are plus 2.5, so I would take that straight up if you were betting right now. However, I already locked in my money line, but I think anytime Cleveland's getting points, I would go for that right away. Just my opinion, though. Also, 1 unit going towards Carolina -3 versus Philadelphia. Carolina's very much proven already that they can be just as good without Christian McCaffrey. Philadelphia is in a mess. I don't know what that franchise is doing. Nick Sirianni, I don't think it was the right guy. I think it's clearly showing. But yeah, I like Carolina. They've been on a roll. Every time I bet on them, they always win. So I'm gonna keep the rolling going. Arizona -5 with Kittle on the IR and Trey Lance making his first start. Even though I think Trey Lance will have a pretty good game. It's his first start, so he's going to make mistakes. Kyler Murray's going to make mistakes too, but he's able to make up with them with his crazy plays. So I like Arizona -5. And then the last one before my Let's Rock parlay, 2 units on Houston plus 8.5 versus the Patriots. Everyone seems to always bet against Houston in these large spreads. 8.5 points in the NFL is a lot of points. So, and you have to remember the Texans are professionals too. So, I like them to cover that, and I like them to cover that pretty easily. I don't think the Patriots. Well, they clearly don't put the fear into everyone that they used to with Tom Brady. Any thoughts on any of those picks, guys?
I'm not huge into betting, so I'm going to leave this one to Tom. But
no worries.
It sounds like a very solid, well-rounded slate. I think I don't really have a huge problem with anything.
I don't even know why I asked you guys for your opinion.
Yeah.
And then the Let's Rock parlay this week, it's going off at I think plus 2,200, if not higher, right now. This is over. I believe you can get this over at Bovada as well. They'll let you string together things like this, but 4-play parlay. I think, Tom, like I said last week, tell me where this loses, please. The Packers -2.5 versus the Bengals. The Browns plus 2.5. San Francisco versus the Cardinals over 48.5, and then the Panthers money line. Tom, tell me where that loses.
You said, wait, what was the Cardinal leg? What was the part with the Cardinals?
Over 48.5. Cardinals, Niners over 48.5.
Okay. In all honesty, if there was one leg that you would be worried about, it would be that Browns leg. But it sounds like a really solid. Yeah, I don't really know. That sounds like a really solid place.
Once again, I will just from now on, I'm not going to ask anyone.
What do you want me to say? Oh my God, that's the best parlay I've ever heard.
Yes, Tom. Yes, I want you to say that because I had a terrible day yesterday, and I need some cheering up. No, I'm just kidding. But those are my plays for the week. Like I said, the Let's Rock parlay hit last week. I got a question. PPR, J.D. McKissick or Singletary?
So
personally,
it's tough. I personally like J.D. McKissick a little more. I know Gibson is a little hobbled. He's coming to the game questionable. Even though he is still going to be in the game, I think Moss is going to take most of the work from the Bills' backfield. So I like J.D. McKissick a little bit more. I think they're going to pass to J.D. McKissick a little bit more. Considering this is a PPR league, I'm going to go with McKissick.
Tommy?
Yeah. I mean, Moss has been the red zone guy and the PPR guy for them. So out of those two, I would go Singletary as well, solely for upside. And if Gibson is hobbled, like Asher said, or he is hobbled, but if he ends up getting knocked out.
See, you're going with McKissick?
Well, my point was going to be I would 100% hit the waiver wire before the games start because these both are not very safe plays.
No. You were saying you agree with me, and then you said you were going Singletary.
Yeah.
So it kind of got a little confusing.
Oh, did I? Yeah, no, my bad.
Yeah.
My bad. So I meant McKissick.
Yeah. Okay. I like McKissick too. Singletary for me is just always going to be – he's almost like Ronald Jones to me. Like he's going to get some yards. He's going to get some touches. But he's never going to be a guy that you should just rely on in fantasy. It's just
he's a good ground and pound real life player, but he's not a good fantasy production player.
Yeah, I 100% agree. 100% agree. Asher, you do any DFS?
I've dabbled in a little bit, but not much. I'm not a huge gambler. I just don't like throwing money into things, you know.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, when I say like my units are very small. Let's be honest. I'm not betting thousands of dollars like real people. But I guess you know what. I'll just tell this to everyone because I assume anyone watching was also watching when I ranted about the Notre Dame Wisconsin over and how that was the worst loss of my life. I don't know if you remember, Asher, but Notre Dame played Wisconsin. I don't know, second week or whatever. Going into the third quarter, it was tied. Or going into the fourth quarter, tied 10-10. The under was so locked in, and then Wisconsin had 3 pick sixes, and I was just laughing and having fun on my couch. And then I realized the over hit and the under didn't hit, and I didn't think I would ever have a worse loss in my gambling life.
3 pick sixes in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, 3 pick sixes. Yes.
Well, there was a pick six, there was a punt return for a touchdown, and then there was another something like that.
Yeah, it was. It was
insane.
3. Yeah, and I was just watching it, like, because I just wasn't even looking at the score. I was just watching. I was like, "This is awesome. Wisco's getting killed. Like, awesome." Then I looked up, and I didn't really realize it. I checked my Twitter, and someone had tweeted like, "Life's too short to bet the under." And then I looked at it. I was like, "Oh my god." Well, I was in shock then. I have to say, yesterday, I almost went to a very, very dark place.
Oh no!
So as most people know, the Red River Shootout was playing yesterday, along with at the same time Ole Miss and Arkansas was playing. So my 2 picks in this game: Texas plus 3.5. I'm not even going to talk about the game because Texas was already up 28-7 in the first quarter. Ended up fucking blowing it because they're idiots. But whatever. And then I had Ole Miss minus 5. So I'm looking at the games. There's about a minute left in each game. Oklahoma's driving. They're not going to score, but they're going to get the field goal. So I'm going to cover. I'm golden. I'm going to cover. And at this time also, it's coming out of the end of the Ole Miss game. This literally hit back to back. So Oklahoma hands the ball off to the running back to kind of set up their kicker wherever they want to go. And instead of, just setting up the kicker and me being happy because they covered, he runs for a touchdown. And the cover is blown. I'm blown. I hate my life. It was terrible. And then about 2 seconds later, I saw that Ole Miss had scored to go up 7. So it was 52-45 with 14 seconds left. And I was like, okay, at least I got that one. Unfortunately, Ole Miss decides to not play any defense at all. And they let Arkansas score. So it was 52-51. So at that point, you're hoping they just go for the extra point and the tie, and you get overtime. You still have a chance to cover. Nope, Arkansas went for 2, didn't get it. Back-to-back losses in a matter of 5 minutes. They were my 2 biggest plays of the day. I don't know how to explain it. I going back and forth between the two and like texting people. I was in shock. I had no idea what was going on. But it was a bad start yesterday, but I ended up okay. So I'm not going to complain.
I have enough heartbreak with watching the Twins play each year, watching the Vikings play each year, watching the Timberwolves Wild. I don't need I'm not even losing money watching them either. I'm not losing any money. I don't want to see what would happen if I decided to bet and things turned sideways.
Other than the Browns, other than the Browns and Ohio State, I would say I usually stay away. But with Ohio State and the Browns, especially this year, I like to bet on the Browns, and Ohio State's been covering. But yeah, it wasn't a good day yesterday, and but that's what happens when you gamble. But whatever. I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to keep doing it today. I'm going to do it next week. If you have an issue, if you have a problem gambling addiction, 1-800-GAMBLER. Call that number. That's actually a real number. Call that if you have a gambling addiction. So, yeah. And also, if you come at me and yell at me on Twitter because you took my picks and they didn't win, that's on you, buddy. I've already said I'm a horrible gambler. So, I don't know what to tell you other than you're an idiot. Go ahead, Tom.
I have another text-in question from a friend, Brandon. And I actually think also the Jets just lost by 7. So I'm ready to be done for the day. I have another text-in question from a buddy, Brandon. And this one is honestly one of the hardest questions I think of the week that we'll actually get. It is Alexander Mattison, Chuba Hubbard, or Damian Williams as a flex spot. It's a full PPR league.
Oh, I'm gonna go. I hate to say it too.
That is a very tough one.
I really like Madison. I think he is like the second coming of Dalvin Cook. If Dalvin Cook goes down at any point, he just doesn't. He's not showcased in the passing or pass catching plays at all. I'm gonna go with Damian Williams. I think he is a little more versatile in his game. I think in fantasy wise, I think in PPR is going to be Damian Williams. I think Alexander Madison's a better running back. I hate the Bears. I don't like rooting for their players, but I do like Damian Williams in fantasy PPR this week.
I'm gonna agree with you on that one. I do like Damian Williams, and the best part about Madison, by the way, is that he's the next coming of Dalvin Cook, and he looks exactly like him with a helmet on. So no one even knows. Yeah, it's great.
Their play styles when they're running the ball too, it's very similar. Like they're very shifty.
I remember I was on I think YouTube a week ago or whatever, and they were like side by sides of two of their big runs, and I was like, yeah, 100%. Like if I was watching this game, I would 100% been like, that's Dalvin Cook that just scored. So but I agree. First of all, I'll say about Chuba Hubbard, that's X'd off my list right away. He had his chance to kind of shine last week, didn't do it. I think with what Sam Darnold's shown in the run game, it seems like in the red zone would be the only time where Chuba Hubbard would get like probably touchdown opportunities. But it seems like with what the Panthers have been doing, they'd rather have Darnold run it in than the running back. I think that'll change with Christian McCaffrey's back. But Chuba Hubbard is automatically a no for me. Corey, you might say something about that. I'm sorry. I'm not a Hubbard fan. But I agree. Damian Williams gets involved in the passing game. And I don't really like the Bears either. But that's another check down kind of guy for a rookie. In the passing game, go through 2 progressions, check down, get some yards. So I like that as well. I agree. You know what? I'm not going to stop. I agree 100% with what Asher said. Everything. So, Tom, you.
Yeah. I agree 100%. I mean, I had I'm
Oh my God. Come on, bro.
Oh no.
How about Chuba?
How about Chuba, baby? Oh man, I'm sorry. That killed me. No, I I agree 100%. I really like Williams this week. I had him as my sleeper. Even with Madison out there, I think Williams is a borderline RB2. Madison should be as well. But I think just the fact that it's you're playing Las Vegas or Philadelphia. Actually, I don't even know. No, I go with Williams as well. I really don't have as great a reason as Asher did, but I'm going with Williams. I think he gets a better day.
No, he's better. He's better with pass catching. I could see him being a check down guy for Justin Fields all day. It'll be almost like a second sense to him or a sixth sense to him. Just seeing him on the outside, Damian Williams is going to be there. He's going to be able to catch the ball. He has better pass catching abilities and will make plays more often.
And it also wouldn't surprise me, especially early on in the game, not necessarily screens, I would say to him, but more of just like I can't like not outs, but like short passes that basically he has blockers in front of him so he can run.
What I see a lot is him faking a run, going up the middle, and splitting the linebackers and catching that check down up the middle.
Yeah, we've seen it from rookie quarterbacks 100%. Again and again and again. They find guys they're comfortable with, and they just kind of stick to them. We've seen that happen with Baker, basically just Baker, but whatever. But yeah, no, so, I go ahead, Tom.
I'm getting a lot of questions in right now. I have one from my friend Will and another from my friend Avi. So the one from Will, Alexander Madison or Josh Jacobs, which I think is another really great question because Jacobs has not even played that well, even when he's been playing. There you go. Great idea. I was actually thinking of that.
I'm going Madison. I can never trust Josh Jacobs, even though Josh Jacobs seems to be the premier back. Between it being injury prone and just not being able to make the big plays that people expect of him. I think I go Madison.
Tom, I'll go. I agree. Go ahead, Tom.
No, I was gonna say you can go while I type in some of the other questions I'm getting.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, yeah. No, I go Madison as well. It's not even that Josh Jacobs is injury prone and is inconsistent. It's more that John Gruden and their play calling, they don't really put him in situations where he's going to be effective. And that's been an issue for Gruden a lot. I mean, they also have Kenyon Drake. Kenyon Drake was one of the weirdest offseason signings. That was just so weird that they signed him, in my opinion. I go with Madison as well. I mean, we saw what happened last time Madison played when Dalvin Cook was hurt. I think didn't he rush for like 126 yards or something like that?
Oh, Madison has always played well when Cook is hurt.
Yeah. So I like I said before we even knew Dalvin Cook was even officially out, I think all of us were saying Madison is a very good pickup, and you probably should go with him right away. I would go Madison as well.
So Madison is one of those guys. He's an interesting fantasy guy because he should be drafted in every single league, and he should never be dropped. And when Dalvin Cook is out, he's going to put up numbers. He could be on any other team and be a good running back one for them.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. Yeah, And like I said, with Josh Jacobs, he's injury prone. They have Kenyon Drake there as well. They seem to have gotten really pass happy a little bit with Derek Carr and his renaissance, I guess you could call it. But like I said, I like Madison. All right, next one.
Last one. Hold on, before we go on to the next one. Last game that we played Seattle. That's the game that Madison started. He gathered 21.1 points.
Yeah, I mean that's really, 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 really good. So
especially from your backup, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. All right.
I also would be going Madison, by the way.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks.
Yeah,
you just keep writing these comments, buddy. We'll do the work. Don't worry. Michael Pittman, or I assume that's Devonta Smith.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think Pittman eventually is going to be good. I would go with Devonta Smith here. He clearly, like I said, I think it's important when young quarterbacks, they find a target that they like. He's clearly been able to withstand taking hits in the NFL, which I honestly didn't know if he would be able to do. And he's had a pretty good year so far. So I'm going to go with Devonta Smith. Pittman should be the pick, but he just hasn't. I don't know if it's a Colts offense or whatever, but he just hasn't performed. I don't know.
So with that said, Pittman, I almost like Pittman because he gets the targets. I mean, for the first couple of games, he had 12 targets, 8 targets. Like, he gets his targets. He can make plays. It's just the problem is he's not making those plays. He's not making those big plays. Yards after catch is a huge thing, especially in leagues like this. I think Devonta Smith is a more well-rounded wide receiver, and I think Jalen Hurts likes going to him, so I'm going to go Devonta Smith as well.
Tom, any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I should know this, but who do the Colts have this week?
Baltimore.
Yeah. Everything about that and the Colts offensive situation, I'm going with Devonta Smith. I think he has a lot more upside and maybe even has potential higher floor. So I'm going with Devonta Smith as well there.
Yeah, like I said, I'm very surprised his body has been able to handle taking hits. He is a twig. All right.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Oh boy.
Galladay, Damian Williams, and Antonio Gibson.
No.
Isn't that a hard one, yo?
Yes.
I had no idea what to do. This is the one I'm like, right, I'm ready to actually debate something here.
This is something this is like something I would see on my team, because I have well-rounded players, and when it comes to like questions like this, I never can figure it out myself. But based off first glance, I'm going to take Gibson out of the equation. Giants wide receivers are banged up. I'm pretty sure Slayton and Shepard are both out this game, so it's going to be highly relied on by Galladay and Kadarius Toney. But I also really like Damian Williams against a weak Vegas rush defense. But I'm going to have to go with Williams here just because I haven't seen Justin Fields be able to do anything with the ball. I think if he can't get his pass game going, they're going to have to rely on Damian Williams, and Damian Williams will have a game of his life. But I also really do like Galladay.
Really? So I guess you guys both think this. I take Galladay out right away. You guys like Galladay?
Well, all of Daniel Jones's weapons are out. Slayton's out. Shepard's out. Like,
that's true.
You're going to have to either rely on Toney or a veteran in Galladay.
Yeah. That's true. No, you're right. Yeah, that's true. All right. I would go. With Gibson being banged up, I don't necessarily like him as much. I agree. I kind of like Damian Williams there. I guess these guys are all. Asher and Tom are the guys you're going to ask for your fantasy questions. I just kind of get my opinion, really. But yeah, I just Antonio Gibson. The Washington football team should be much better than they are right now, and I don't know what's going on there, but.
They lost their quarterback.
They lost their quarterback, but speaking of Ryan Fitzpatrick, all right, we'll get to the other one in a sec. The top nickname for a player. What are you guys'? Because I have some good ones.
Like nicknames that are already established or that we've given?
No, already established. I would
Already
say.
yeah, that's
established?
I'll start. I'll start. Speaking of Fitzpatrick, it's not Fitzmagic. It's not anything like that. It's the Amish rifle.
Oh Jesus, I've never heard that one yet.
Yeah, neither have I.
That's
But if you go on Google and search NFL nicknames, there's a whole Wikipedia page of them. I just thought the Amish rifle was awesome. So
I like Kareem the Dream or Crispy Kareem.
ooh, I do like that one too. Okay. What about you, Tom?
I know I absolutely hate him, and I will never ever have him in fantasy or anything. But the Mormon Missile Taysom Hill is just my favorite thing of all time.
Oh, for fuck's sake! Sorry, I don't know if we're allowed to swear on this, but that just got me for a loop for a minute.
Oh, we do all the time. It's fine.
Oh yeah, honestly, Asher, you're lucky you came on today. I usually start out Sundays with a huge rant about either college football or Manchester United because I watch soccer a lot. So, oh yeah, you're in England. Do you watch soccer at all?
Oh, it's on every time at any pub ever.
Do you like it?
Yeah, I enjoy watching it.
I'm so jealous. So we're off topic for a second. Where are you at in England? We lost him.
We may have lost him. Leave it to the English Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I was gonna say I was expecting to lose you today, Tom, not him. Do you?
I've been very close a couple of times.
You can message him or whatever, or tell Corey to message him. Tell him to just pop back out and hop back in, or re-click the link.
Yeah, I'll shoot him a message now.
Do you know how to get to the link?
Yeah, no, he already has it.
Okay, all right. It's cool.
Anyway.
All right, yeah, we'll go on to these questions. I'm going to remove him now. So if he pops back in, we'll see him. He's been really good. I hope Asher joins us real quickly again. Asher's awesome, but if he doesn't, I assume we're going to have him on in the future. Like I said, I hope he comes back on right now. If he doesn't, though, he's been dope. We always love guests, and we always love questions. So and Asher seems like a pretty cool dude, so we'll probably have him on again. So yeah, but hopefully he comes back. Who knows?
Sure.
All right. I got the question up. Beasley, Mooney, Chenault. Who asked this question? Who has all these players?
Like I said, I don't know how deep this person's league is or anything. I'm getting text messages. There he is.
Yeah,
he's back.
My laptop for some odd reason just went funky.
No worries.
All good.
We either lose me or Tom once every show, anyways. No worries. We're gonna move back on to the question we were talking about. So the question's up. Beasley, Mooney, Chenault, Pittman, bench. I asked Tom, so Tom, go ahead.
Well, so just on that last question with Galladay, Williams, and Gibson? Yeah, I agree. I would have gone with Williams. I like him this week. Looking at this question, if I had to bench one person, I already talked about how much I love Chenault this week. We talked about Mooney a little bit. I think he's going to be a big part for Justin Fields through the air. So that leaves Cole Beasley or Michael Pittman. I know Pittman is the one receiver and Beasley's more of the slot receiver. But we talked about how this Buffalo Chiefs game is going to be a shootout. And Josh Allen has shown that he can sling it kind of to whoever he wants, whenever he kind of wants it to a certain extent. So I would bench Pittman here, even though he's in theory supposed to see more targets than Beasley would. I don't see it happening.
I absolutely agree. I think Beasley's a boomer bust play. I think Mooney's going to be a huge piece in Chicago if they want to get their passing game going. I like Chenault, considering DJ Chark is out. I think he can finally, manage to gain good rapport with his starting quarterback, Trevor Lawrence. And my eyes directly went to Pittman when I saw this. I'm benching Pittman as well. I just don't trust that Pittman will be able to do anything with the ball. I know he's going to get his targets. I know in PPR formats, he will have catches, but he doesn't do anything after the catch. He doesn't get very many yards after catch. So I'm going to go with benching Pittman.
All right. I agree with you guys. I do think, because the game's going to be a shootout, it does seem like Beasley's going to get more catches. But I'm never going to say Beasley because I think he's a weirdo and I don't really like him. So, but whatever. Yeah, I'd say Pittman too. Screw you, Beasley. I don't like you. All right.
0.5 PPR. I hate those leagues.
I don't even know
hate
what that
half
means.
point. It sucks.
What does that mean?
Half
Does it
point
mean-
PPR.
Instead
You
of
get
getting
half
1
point
point per catch, you get a half.
Yeah.
That's stupid.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. So here we got here. Half PPR, 1 RB, 1 wide receiver. Trey Sermon. I assume that's Jamal Williams. Singletary, Jalen Waddle, Hunter Renfrow. So 1 RB and RB is what Williams and Singletary.
So that is Trey Sermon, Javonte Williams for the Denver Broncos, Devin Singletary, Jalen Waddle, or Hunter Renfrow. You need 1 running back and 1 receiver.
Well, I'm going to go with Waddle for sure. I like Waddle coming into this game. He'll get your receptions, especially if you can open up in space. Your running backs, though, are very concerning. I'm huge on Javonte Williams. I said if he's available in any of your leagues, you must pick him up. Like, he's a must pick up now and staff for later in the season because I don't see Melvin Gordon being able to last the entire season. But in this case, I'm still going to start Javonte Williams. If that's your only options here, Elijah Mitchell is back, and they're going to want to try to ease him back in. So I don't think Sermon sees his touches. I don't like Singletary just because he's not a very good fantasy production running back. So my 2 picks are going to be Waddle and Javonte Williams.
I like that. Tommy?
For the running back, I agree 100%. Javonte Williams is a guy that I drafted in a couple of different leagues, expecting this uptick. I think everyone kind of knew that it would be more of a timeshare, but now we're starting to see Javonte Williams kind of take over a little bit more. I don't think that means that Melvin Gordon is going to be completely phased out, but a game like this week where Denver is going up against Pittsburgh, it's tough to get behind Javonte Williams, but he's going to be the guy that's getting the touches in the red zone. And then for the wide receivers, Jalen Waddle, 100% agree. Again, he should be having a huge week, especially with Devontae Parker out.
I like Renfrow. Don't get me wrong. I do like Renfrow. I just see more production coming out of Waddle than Renfrow.
Just take their 2
Renfrow
answers.
has been very consistent up to this point, whereas Waddle, I think, has more of a ceiling.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just take those 2 guys' answers. I mean, I hate Clemson people and everything about Clemson, so I don't deal with them. Whatever. Asher, every Monday I usually go on a rant about Dabo Swinney, so yeah. It's all good. It's all good. All right, next one. Who chooses to play these half PPR leagues?
The question just disappeared on my screen.
Yeah, I pressed it too many times.
There it is.
Half PPR flex. Edmonds or Brandon Cooks. I'll start for this one. Brandon Cooks easily for me. Edmonds is already, I believe he's questionable, like we said earlier. And Brandon Cooks has put up numbers all year. I like Brandon Cooks a lot here. Asher.
I need to see what his Edmonds' game time decision is. Okay, so he is suiting up week 5. In my honest opinion, he's still a low end running back 2 for me. I know he has the ability to for Kyler Murray to hit him up with the checkdowns. I just don't see it happening as often just because Kyler Murray's liking the fact that he can gun it down the field and he has AJ Green or DeAndre Hopkins there. So he can literally throw it wherever he wants. And I see Brandon Cooks as a clear-cut wide receiver 1 for this game, next game, and every game to come. And I think he's been utilized that way. So I'm liking Brandon Cooks in this question.
Tom?
I have also been a very big supporter of Chase Edmonds all year. Brandon Cooks has been a very big surprise for me as well. But I believe Edmonds, with the fact that he gets the PPR points, I know it's not nearly as valuable as half PPR or in half PPR, I should say. But that also reigns true for Cooks as well. So I would go with Edmonds here personally.
Well,
I want to see how many targets has Edmonds been getting per game. Receiving. All right, so he gets about 5+ targets a game.
A decent amount, I know, not a ton. Yeah,
those are still nice points on top of what he can actually do rushing as well. It doesn't look like he has very many rushing attempts per game, though. He's averaging about 10, 11 per game. Last game, he blew up against the Rams, though, and San Francisco's defense is not any worse or better than they are. So I do like Edmonds, too. I just think Brandon Cooks is going to light it up this week.
I agree. I like that one. Like I said, I agree. Next one. Mixon or Sanders PPR. Asher will start with you because I think you sat both of these guys.
I did sit both of these guys. They are usually, when they're healthy, they're both clear-cut starters in any league. For PPR, though, I think their Eagles are probably going to go to Kenneth Gainwell more, based off what we've seen in the past couple of games, especially going against a tough defense that they're going to be going against today. So if I had to pick one of these two guys, I think I have to go with Mixon. Mixon was the biggest question for me. He's going to be a boom or bust in this game, depending on his injury. He is questionable coming into the game, but he is suiting up. His workload's not going to 100% be there, but I think if he can come off with a couple of huge runs, I think Mixon will have a better outlook.
Tom?
Yeah, this one I got and was just like very because like I really don't want to play either. Especially with the fact that Carolina's defense should 100% bottle up the run game here. But I agree. Mixon, while he's playing hobbled, I think they'll still use him enough to at least get him into flex value. So I will be going Mixon here as well.
The tough thing about that, too, is that if they bring in Samaje Perine or Perine, however you want to pronounce his last name, he's usually just a short yardage specialist. They usually like to use him at the goal line. But if they have Mixon, why would they need to use Perine? So if they're going to get to the goal line, I still think Mixon's going to be utilized a little more than Sanders will.
So I'm actually not as concerned with.
Go ahead, Tom.
What was that, Justin?
Just go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. I'm actually not as concerned with Samaje Perine as I am Chris Evans. I think Chris Evans is I think the game plan was going to be, and I read somewhere that Chris Evans is going to come in for the third down and passing downs, which takes away from Mixon's PPR value. Whereas, like you said, Perine might come in for some goal line opportunities or short line, but a majority of the actual rushing work, I believe, is supposed to go to Mixon.
Absolutely.
So that's where I think more of the question comes into play, is that Mixon's not getting those PPR touches.
Okay, cool. Two more. PPR, AJ Green, Sammy Watkins, Cortland Sutton, Claypool, Emmanuel Sanders, Elijah Mitchell. I assume this is for a flex spot.
For a flex spot?
I believe so.
I think it's got to be a flex spot because Mitchell's there.
Is it just one?
It's just one time?
Let me look back. Yes, just one.
Jeez.
This one.
All right.
Yeah,
I'll start with
this one came from Will.
I'll start with this one for me. I'm taking Watkins out right now already, and I'm also taking Claypool out already just because I don't trust Big Ben to throw it to Claypool. I'm probably going to take AJ Green out as well. I like him. He's been good for Arizona.
He's TD dependent.
Yeah, he's not going to get the yak, and he's not. Yeah. All right, so I have it down to Sutton, Claypool, Mitchell. But what are you guys' picks? Go ahead. Ash, we'll start with you.
I really like Emmanuel Sanders. I like what Josh Allen has been able to do with him. I think, especially in this high caliber of a game against Kansas City, I think that he's going to start looking into Sanders more because he has that rapport with him. He's trusted in the past couple of games to get those nice TD catches, and this is going to be a high-scoring game. I truly believe. So I really like Sanders coming into this game as far as these options go.
Tom?
Yeah, for me, I 100% am on board with Emmanuel Sanders, sort of for the same reason that we talked about with Cole Beasley. Allen's just going to be trying to gun it because they're going to have to keep up with Kansas City's offense. Sanders, if you look at his target share, he's had 6 targets the past 3 weeks and had 8 targets the week before that. So he's getting an average of 6 to 8 targets a week. He has a pretty decent catch percentage. 5 over the last 2 weeks, or I guess 10 catches on 12 targets the last 2 weeks. Had that big week versus Washington with 2 touchdowns and 94 yards. Last week had 74 yards. He's on a high right now. Allen's looking for him, and I forget the exact number off the top of my head, but Emmanuel Sanders is, I think, getting like a 24% target share out of all of the passing offense. So he's a guy where I think he has the highest chance to boom.
And his yards per catch, too. I mean, listen to this. 24 yards per catch, 18 yards per catch, 14 yards per catch. I mean, this man's doing something with the ball. He's able to get out there. He's able to get out there and get open in deep field. So,
all right. Cool beans. All right, last one. Sutton, A-Rob, or Chenault. Ooh. This is tough.
In any week that they had an established quarterback, I would go A-Rob. In any other week.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what I was saying. Yeah. My first thought is I look at this right away and I'm like, I got to take A-Rob off just because Fields isn't going to get him the ball.
Yeah. But I also don't want to say – I want to say Chenault because he's going to get the target shares. He's going to get the targets, I mean. He's the established wide receiver 1 for that offense. It's just so hard not to go A-Rob. In any sort of situation, it's hard to have to say sit A-Rob. But I'm for the sake of making bold predictions here, I'm going to go with Chenault.
Tom?
I mean, I have Chenault as my sleeper wideout. I saw this and I immediately thought this was a Chenault question. I just don't trust Justin Fields. A-Rob has not produced whatsoever this year at all. And with Sutton, yeah, he probably is in the best. I don't want to say the best situation, but he's on the most established team right now. But Bridgewater coming out of I think it was concussion protocol, didn't really practice that much this week. And Denver has to go up against Pittsburgh, which is a very tough defense. So I'm going with Chenault all day.
All right. I have a question from one of my buddies. Flex League PPR. Chase Edmonds or Courtland Sutton?
Ooh.
PPR?
I would go with Chase Edmonds personally.
Who's Denver playing this week? I forgot.
Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh. Whose defense kind of stinks.
They're only good at their rush defense is nice, but
I got here.
I'm going to go Chase Edmonds just because I don't absolutely trust Sutton yet. I know he can make big plays. I know he's a fantastic wide receiver. I just don't know if seeing as if Teddy Bridgewater's coming in the game with a questionable designation, even though he is still playing. I don't see him playing at 100%. Sutton's going to need a quarterback that's playing at 100% if he's going to do something with the ball. So I'm going to go with Chase Edmonds.
All right, I'm just going to make this easier. My buddy sent me basically his whole bench. So he's starting Chase Edmonds right now. His other options are Juju Smith-Schuster, Sutton, Kenyon Drake, Marquise Brown, the Osborne guy from Minnesota, and Cole Beasley. Edmonds over all those?
I
I would
still think I'm going Edmonds.
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right.
Yeah, I would as well.
And kickoff.
All right. Before we go, we're adding a new segment. I'm going to go through 6 games. We're not picking against the spread. Just give me winners, and we'll keep track, and we'll keep track of guests. All right. First game. Who wins? Browns versus Chargers.
Browns.
It's just straight up win or lose.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be the odd guy out. I'll take the Chargers.
It's fine. Arizona, San Francisco.
Arizona.
I will go Arizona.
3 for 3 in Arizona. Minnesota versus Detroit.
Minnesota.
Yeah, Minnesota.
Asher, I got to tell you, I really hope it's not this week for you, but sometime this season, the Detroit Lions are going to play a very, very good game and actually win a game. I hope it's not this week, but it's going to happen at some point.
That's true.
They almost did it against the Ravens. They almost did it
agree.
against the Ravens.
I agree. I like Minnesota there too. All right, into our Monday night or Sunday night matchup: Buffalo KC.
Oh no.
Wow.
Screw it. I'm going
Buffalo. I'm going
Buffalo.
Yeah.
It was tough, but
we love it.
You losers. I'm going with Kansas City.
I think Patrick Mahomes has a better game, but I think Buffalo all around has a better game.
Okay. All right. 2 more Monday night matchup, or not Monday night matchup. Philly versus Carolina.
Carolina.
All right. Then Monday night, Indy, Baltimore.
Baltimore.
Yeah, Baltimore.
Losers. I like Indy. No, I like Indy just because I want Baltimore to lose. All right, man. Well,
I do too.
All right. Everyone out there, you know our Twitters. My game doesn't start till 4, so I'm going to be around if you have any questions. Chase Claypool just made a big play. But kickoff just happened, so we're going to hop off. Asher, thanks for joining us, man. You're free to come back anytime you want. You were awesome. Once again, you are way smarter than I am in fantasy, so that always helps when we have actual smart people on, and I'm just not sounding like a bumbling idiot. So
I dedicate half my life to this, so
it's always good. You're more than welcome to come on anytime. I did have Asher's name in there in my tweet, so if you want to tweet him with questions, I'm sure he'd be free to answer them for you. But other than that, I think we're going to head out, go watch our games. Well, Tom, your day is over. I mean, just go drink yourself to death. I don't know.
No, it's been a pleasure, guys. Thank you for having me on your cast. This was awesome.
Yeah.
It was
Anytime. We'd love to have you and Corey or just you again back. I mean, we love having as many people as we can. Spread the word. We love answering questions. We got a lot to speak through texting. Hopefully we'll get more through like Twitter next week and ever. But thanks for everyone who participated. Asher, again, thank you, my man. Tom, any last words, man?
Go Dogs, man. You already know.
All right.